Greetings, we'll cover a few details about Humphrey Bogart and his life in a succinct manner. Here is a short rundown of his early years, education, career, persona, notable works, accolades, legacy and demise. Humphrey Bogart was an American film and stage actor. He was one of classical Hollywood cinema films made him an American cultural icon. American actor Humphrey Bogart, also known as Bogie, appeared in both movies and plays. He became a cultural figure in America, thanks to his appearances in classical Hollywood movies. Also known as Humphrey DeForest Bogart, Bogie, famous as, best known for his roles in the films Casablanca, The African Queen and The Maltese Falcon. Born December 25, 1899, New York, United States. Died January 14, 1957, Los Angeles, California, United States. Father, Belmont DeForest Bogart. Mother, Maud Humphrey. Siblings, Catherine Elizabeth Bogart, Francis Bogart. Education, Phillips Academy. Spouses, Helen Menken, Mary Phillips, Mayo Method, Lauren Bacall. Children, Stephen Humphrey Bogart, Leslie Howard Bogart. Founder Co-founder, Entertainment Industry Foundation. His mother, Maud Humphrey, was a well-known painter, and his father, Dr. Belmont DeForest Bogart, was a well-known heart surgeon. The young Humphrey frequently served as his mother's model. Of his parents' 3 children, Humphrey was the oldest. Frances and Catherine Elizabeth were his sisters. His parents were quite formal and without any real emotion. Delancey School was where Humphrey Bogart started his studies and finished 5th grade there. He was then sent, first to the illustrious Trinity School and later, in 1917, to the similarly illustrious Phillips Academy. After high school, his parents intended him to enroll at Yale University. Sadly, he was dismissed from school in 1918, allegedly for tossing a groundskeeper into Rabbit Pond on the campus. He had no choice but to enlist in the American Navy. He was able to separate his values from those of his family throughout his tenure in the U.S. Navy. After World War I was over in 1919, Humphrey Bogart received an honorable discharge from the Navy. When he got home, his father was ill and the family's wealth had been damaged by poor investments. He therefore started looking for employment. William Aloysius Bradbury Productions and theater firm, World Film Corporation, hired him as an office worker. He was required to perform a variety of tasks there and even tried his hand at writing and directing scripts, but failed. In the end, Bogart was introduced to acting by William's daughter Alice. He served as her stage manager at first. Then, in her production of Drifting in 1921, he made his stage debut as a Japanese butler, delivering his one-line monologue awkwardly, "Drinks for my lady and for her most valued visitors." Bogart continued to work hard in his chosen sector and received more jobs. He started performing in a number of Broadway shows, with sets in drawing rooms or country homes, starting in 1922. At first, he was cast in minor roles or as the second lead in comedies, like Meet the Wife, 1923, when he played reporter Gregory Brown. He received his first leading part in the comedy Cradle, Snatcher in 1925. Film directors soon took notice of his Broadway breakthrough. He made his film debut in 1928, with a short called The Dancing Town, but he primarily worked on stage. After then, there was very little work due to the 1929 stock market crisis, which had a significant negative influence on theatrical production. Therefore, Humphrey Bogart embarked on his journey to Hollywood like many other theatrical actors. He co-starred with Spencer Tracy in John Ford's 1930 motion picture Up the River. Bogart continued to perform in a number of movies, but he failed to stand out. As a result, he made the decision to return to Broadway and started traveling between New York and Hollywood. He was given the title role in the Broadway production of Invitation to Murder in 1934. Producer of plays, Arthur Hopkins took notice of it, and in the 1935 production of The Petrified Forest, he was given the part of the vicious killer, Duke Mantee. Hollywood producers were impressed with his work in the drama, The Petrified Forest. He was given the same role when Warner Brothers opted to adapt the same book into a movie in 1936. He became well known thanks to the movie, which grossed $500,000 at the box office. Warner Brothers gave him a 26-week contract at $550 per week despite his accomplishments. Bogart was left with no choice but to agree to that. But regrettably, he was stereotyped as a gangster in these movies. Bogart produced one film on average every 2 months, from 1936 to 1940, and that too in difficult circumstances. Although Bogart disliked these roles, he had no other options. Refusing to follow the studio's directive would result in an unpaid suspension. Nevertheless, he produced a few notable movies at that time. Black Region, 1937, Dead End, 1937, San Quentin, 1937, Black Legion, 1936, Marked Woman, 1937, Racket Busters, 1938, You Can't Get Away with Murder, 1938, Angel with Dirty Faces, 1938, The Roaring Twenties, 1939, and They Drive by Night, 1939. 1940, he was chosen to play Roy Earle in the 1941 film High Sierra. He had some depth to his character despite the fact that it was a criminal thriller. After 4 years of courtship, Humphrey Bogart wed actress Helen Menken on May 20, 1926. The couple's marriage, however, was short-lived, and they filed for divorce on November 18, 1927. Bogart wed actress Mary Phillips on April 3, 1928. Bogart later relocated to Hollywood, but Phillips, who had a successful career in New York, declined to follow. Finally, they divorced in 1938, although they did it amicably. August 21, 1938 saw the wedding of Bogart and actress Mayo Method. She believed Bogart had been unfaithful, and the two battled so bitterly that acquaintances dubbed them the Battling Bogarts. In the end, they got a divorce in 1945. Humphrey Bogart married actress Lauren Bacall for a fourth and final time on May 21, 1945. Despite the age gap, the couple remained married until Bogart passed away in 1957. Stephen Humphrey Bogart and Leslie Bogart, the couple's 2 children, were born. Humphrey Bogart had starred in about 75 motion pictures over a period of 3 decades. Many of these are now recognized as cinematic classics, including Casablanca, 1942, To Have and Have Not, 1944, The Big Sleep, 1946, The Treasure of the Sierra Madre, 1948, In a Lonely Place, 1950, The African Queen, 1951, Sabrina, 1954, and The Caine Mutiny, 1954. He received the Best Actor Academy Award in 1951 for his performance as Charlie Allnut in the motion picture, The African Queen. Bogart was designated the greatest male cinema star of the 20th century by the American Film Institute in 1999. He had only become a legend during his own lifetime. Bogart received a star at 6322 Hollywood Boulevard on the Hollywood Walk of Fame on February 8, 1960. In its Legends of Hollywood series, the United States Postal Service honored Bogart in 1997 with a stamp featuring his likeness. A portion of 103rd Street in New York City was renamed Humphrey Bogart Place on June 24, 2006. Bogart suffered esophageal cancer toward the end of his life. His health could not be assessed until January 1956, since he never visited a doctor. It was already too late for surgery or chemotherapy at this point. The illness claimed his life on January 14, 1957.